Excuse me, girl, this isn't the welfare line. First class is for people who can actually afford it. The voice came sharp and loud, slicing through the polished quiet of the Skylink Airlines cabin like a blade. Kylie Hart and the flight attendant with perfectly curled blonde hair and a tight smile stood over seat 2A. Her words echoed, bouncing off the curved walls of the aircraft. Heads turned, whispers stalled, and all eyes landed on the elegant black woman seated with poised calm beneath her. Dr. Amara Langston looked up from her tablet eyes, as still and unreadable as polished obsidian. "I have a first-class ticket," she replied, voice low and composed. Dr. Amara Langston. She reached into her blazer, calm and methodical, retrieving her boarding pass. But Kylie snatched it from her hand like it was contraband. She held it up to the light with exaggerated drama. Then, without a word, she slapped the pass against Amara's chest. The sound was small, but in the stunned silence, it cracked like thunder. "Don't try to scam your way up here, honey." Gasps rustled through the cabin. Amara didn't move. She didn't raise her voice. She merely smoothed the lapel of her blazer, the subtle glint of a Patek Philippe watch, catching the light like a quiet rebuttal. Have you ever been so underestimated, so deeply dismissed, that people couldn't even recognize power when it was sitting 2 feet in front of them? Amara had lived her life in rooms like that. 10 minutes until takeoff, she said quietly, extending the boarding pass again. Kylie rolled her eyes and snatched it once more, spinning toward the other passengers, like she was hosting a reality show. "Y'all, we got another one trying to sneak into first class." The businessman in 1C, a middle-aged white man in a charcoal suit, raised his phone finger, already hovering over the record button. In 1D, an elderly woman leaned toward her husband and whispered, "They always try this nonsense." Kylie flipped her phone to selfie mode and started live streaming. "Hey friends, it's your girl Kylie, and I've got some drama up here in first class. This woman thinks she can just sit wherever she wants." The viewer count ticked upward, 23, 47, 89. Kylie pressed her headset. "Security to gate 12A, she said sweetly. "We have a passenger refusing to move to her assigned seat." Amara remained still. She reached slowly for her wallet. A platinum American Express Centurion card caught the light. The businessman scoffed. "Probably stolen," he muttered to his seatmate. Amara's phone buzzed. She lifted it calmly. "Tell the board I'll be 20 minutes late." Kylie barked a laugh. She's got board meetings now. What is she, a McDonald's regional manager? Her chat flooded with emojis and laughter. From 3B, a young Latina woman glanced at Amara, then at Kylie. She said nothing, but her eyes told a story, one of familiarity. She'd been there before. Heavy footsteps echoed up the jet bridge. 2 security officers climbed aboard, one with a shaved head and a clipboard, the other towering and wide. They stopped just behind Kylie. "What's the situation?" asked the lead officer, his badge reading Dawson. "This passenger is in the wrong seat," Kylie declared. "She's refusing to move to coach where she belongs." Officer Reese Dawson turned his eyes to Amara. She sat unmoving, a Hermes Birkin bag in her lap, the kind that cost more than his car. He assumed it was fake. "Ma'am," he said, "we're going to need you to gather your things." Amara said nothing. Instead, her fingers moved across her phone screen with surgical efficiency. 3 quick messages, sent one to her assistant, one to her legal team, and one to a contact labeled "board chair, personal." Behind her, the businessman was now openly recording. "This is what entitlement looks like," he muttered, "trying to sit in first class without paying for it." His video went live within seconds, the hashtag already trending locally, the restaurant first class fraud. Another flight attendant poked her head into first class. Need backup, Kylie, nah. Kylie said, her grin fixed. Security's got it. Thanks, girl. From 4C, a black man stood halfway up. Excuse me, he said, voice calm but firm. This doesn't seem right. The lady has her boarding pass. Sir, please remain seated, Officer Dawson snapped. From the first row, the elderly woman turned voice syrupy. Honey, she's obviously trying to pull something. We've all seen it before. People were beginning to take sides. In 2C, a young white woman folded her arms and looked out the window. The businessman's seatmate nodded. Finally, someone enforcing the rules. Officer Dawson stepped closer. Ma'am, we need to resolve this quickly. The flight is preparing for departure. Amara looked at him without blinking. I'm waiting for the captain to review the situation. Kylie rolled her eyes. Girl, the captain doesn't have time for your games. Security, please escort her off so we can get these paying customers to their destinations. The elderly woman nodded. Finally, someone with sense. Officer Dawson raised his radio. Ground control, we may need a gate return for passenger removal. 6 minutes until takeoff. That's when Senior Flight Manager Eric Slade appeared at the cabin door. Clipboard in hand, uniform sharp, eyes immediately assessing the tension. Kylie minimized her live stream, but didn't end it. Viewer count 156. What's the delay? Slade asked. Passenger in the wrong seat, Kylie answered quickly, refusing to move to coach. Slade glanced at Amara, his brow furrowed. Her composure, her silence, her accessories, they didn't match the usual scams he'd seen. Ma'am, may I see your boarding pass and identification? Amara offered them without hesitation. For the first time, she smiled. Slade reviewed them. Seat 2A, first class. Purchased 3 days ago. $2.847. Named Dr. Amara Langston. Address Buckhead, Atlanta. The ID looked real, but he'd been fooled before. He opened his airline tablet, logging into the internal passenger database. Gold status. No flags. But something didn't sit right with him. Something too quiet. We've had high-quality forgeries lately, he said aloud. I'll need to verify this through our system. The businessman's video was up to 189 shares. Comments flying in. Why's this taking so long? Drag her off already. She's stalling. Bet she forged it. Another flight attendant approached from the galley. Captain Rodriguez is asking about the delay. Tower was getting impatient. Amara's phone buzzed again. 3 responses. She glanced at them and placed the phone gently face down on the tray. I purchased my ticket directly from your website, she said calmly. Would you like the confirmation number? Slade hesitated. The story was holding. Too well. From 3B, the young Latina woman found her voice. I saw her boarding pass. When she got on, it definitely said first class. The black man in 4C nodded. I saw it too. Clear as day. Slade could feel it, the narrative slipping. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom. Flight crew, we need immediate resolution on the passenger issue. Tower is threatening to reassign our departure slot. The pressure was building. From the tower, from passengers, from social media. Slade made his decision. Ma'am, given the circumstances, I'm going to have to ask you to deplane for additional verification. We'll rebook you on the next available. That's when Amara Langston slowly reached into her blazer. Not aggressively, not rushed, just calm, deliberate motion. And what she pulled out was not a weapon, not a second ID. It was a sleek, black leather business card holder. She extracted a single card, flipped it face down on her tray table, rested her hand on top. Mr. Slade, she said, eyes locked on his. Before you make any irreversible decisions, I suggest you call the captain to the cabin. Personally? Her voice was still quiet, but everything in the cabin changed. Slade blinked. Officer Dawson stiffened, and for the first time since the confrontation began, people stopped assuming. Mr. Slade, Amara said again, her tone calm, but unmistakably final. I strongly recommend you bring Captain Rodriguez here. Now. Slade looked at the black card lying face down on the tray table. Her fingers still rested lightly on it, like a chess master holding back a final move. I have full authority here, he replied, trying to maintain control. Amara tilted her head just slightly. I'm aware. But some decisions require more than authority. They require awareness. Officer Dawson took a step closer. Ma'am, we need to resolve this now. Please gather your belongings. The live stream from Kylie's phone was still rolling, held low by her hip. Her voice was now a whisper to her audience of 287 viewers. She's stalling. Probably Googling another fake name. Slade's jaw tightened. Every second ticking by added pressure from the tower, from the captain, from the swelling wave of phones pointed at them, and from whatever that card represented. Sarah, he said to a nearby flight attendant, tell the captain I need him in the cabin. Now. She hesitated for half a second, then nodded and disappeared toward the cockpit. The businessman in 1C zoomed in on Amara's tray, trying to catch a glimpse of the card's front. This is nuts, he muttered to his stream. Why doesn't she just leave? The Latina woman in 3B leaned forward, narrowing her eyes. From her angle, she could just make out the edge of gold embossing. Her breath caught. She glanced at Amara, then back at the card. Her mouth opened slightly, but she said nothing. Malcolm Reed in 4C noticed. What is it? He asked quietly. She just shook her head. I think I know who she is. Janelle, still filming, noticed the exchange. She probably printed that business card at Kinko's this morning, she whispered into the mic. I swear this is just getting weird. Ma'am, Officer Dawson tried again, voice sharper now. Regardless of what's on that card, this aircraft is under active clearance to taxi. You need to comply with the crew's instructions. Amara didn't flinch. Officer, I understand your position, but I believe the captain's input is required before any further escalation. He'll want to see this card. The tension was reaching a boiling point. 3 minutes past scheduled departure. Then finally, the cockpit door swung open. Slade turned as Captain Rodriguez stepped into the cabin, silver hair, pressed uniform, and the kind of steady presence that made turbulence feel less dangerous. He scanned the cabin, face neutral, voice even. What's the issue, he asked. Passenger in 2A is refusing to deplane, Slade answered quickly. She presented ID and ticket, but we've flagged irregularities. Security's on site, but she's requesting your presence. Captain Rodriguez's eyes landed on Amara and froze. It was subtle but immediate. His posture shifted. His lips parted just slightly. Something flickered behind his eyes. Recognition, concern, maybe even fear. Everyone noticed. Officer Dawson blinked. Kylie frowned. Camila Torres in 3B gasped aloud. Rodriguez took one step forward. Everyone stepped back from seat 2A, he said suddenly. His voice no longer calm, commanding. Captain Slade asked. Now Rodriguez said again, sharper. Step back. Officer Dawson moved away without question. Kylie's stream viewers exploded in the comments. What's happening? Why did he freeze? Is she famous? Did she just win? The businessman in 1C captured every moment on camera. Captain Rodriguez approached Amara slowly, as if realizing she wasn't a threat, but was something else entirely. Sincerely apologize, ma'am, he said carefully. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. Slade opened his mouth but said nothing. His hands trembled around the tablet. Amara looked up. Captain, I appreciate your intervention, but I believe the situation has escalated beyond a misunderstanding. She gestured with a small nod toward the sea of phones. There are at least 6 live streams currently broadcasting, she said. This incident has been documented from multiple angles, all while I remained in my assigned seat on an aircraft my company leases to your airline. She lifted her hand from the card. Slowly, deliberately. The light caught on the text. The businessman leaned closer, whispering to his stream. We're about to find out. Amara picked up the card and held it up facing outward so no one could mistake it. Washington Aerospace Industries, Dr. Amara Langston, Chief Executive Officer and Founder Primary Contractor. Commercial Aviation Division gasps rippled through the cabin. The chat on Kylie's live stream exploded with all caps reactions. No way. CEO. She owns the plane, shut it down. The businessman in 1C read it aloud, voice cracking Washington Aerospace Industries. CEO. His words trailed off as the realization hit. Washington Aerospace wasn't just a contractor. They were one of the largest aircraft leasing corporations in North America. They didn't operate planes, they owned them. And Skylink leased dozens from them. Amara tapped her phone and flipped it toward Rodriguez. This aircraft, she said. Tail number N847WA. Currently under lease from Washington Aerospace Industries to Skylink Airlines. Contract value $2.3 million annually. A beat of silence. Lease term 7 years. Renewable. Camilla Torres, now visibly shaken, covered her mouth. She worked in aviation insurance. She knew what that meant. This wasn't just some wealthy passenger. This was the owner of the aircraft and likely the top executive behind Skylink's most critical contracts. Rodriguez stared at the card. His throat bobbed. Ma'am, he began, voice low. I had no idea. Clearly, Amara replied. Kylie's stream had jumped to 567 viewers. Her fingers trembled. This has to be fake, she stammered to her camera. Anyone can print a card? Amara turned to Officer Dawson. Would you like me to call Washington Aerospace's 24-hour verification line, she asked. They can confirm my identity and the company's contractual relationship with this aircraft. Rodriguez inhaled slowly and reached for his own phone. He wasn't taking any more chances. He dialed, then paused, glancing back at Amara. Dr. Langston, he said, barely managing the name. With your permission, I'll request executive verification. Amara nodded. By all means. Dawson stepped aside. Slade stood frozen. Kylie Hart's live stream finally cut to black as she desperately fumbled to delete it. In 4C, Malcolm Reed sat down slowly, phone still recording. I swear to God, he muttered, this might be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. From the back, another voice whispered, she's the boss of the airline. No one laughed anymore. This wasn't about a boarding pass. This was about power, the kind people couldn't see until it was too late. And Amara Langston had brought it with her in silence, in patience, and in steel trap preparation. Rodriguez raised his phone to his ear, and the cabin held its collective breath. Captain Rodriguez stood with his back slightly hunched, one hand gripping the edge of a seat, the other holding his phone to his ear. The silence in the cabin was electric. No announcements. No safety briefings. No clatter of carts. Just breathless waiting. Washington Aerospace Industries, a calm voice answered. Executive line. This is Jenna. How may I assist? Rodriguez cleared his throat. This is Captain Louis Rodriguez with Skylink Airlines. Flight SK1047. I'm calling from aircraft tail number N847WA. I need to verify the identity of Dr. Amara Langston. Please hold, the voice said smoothly. Passengers exchanged glances. A middle-aged white businessman in 3A began recording on his phone. Daniel Price, the man in 1C, whispered to his live stream, "Folks, if this is real, we're watching the most expensive mistake in commercial airline history unfold in real time." The line clicked. "Captain Rodriguez," a second voice said, this one, older, sharper, and deeply familiar. "This is Alan Fields, General Counsel for Washington Aerospace." What seems to be the issue? Rodriguez's throat tightened. "Sir, we have Dr. Langston on board. There was a miscommunication. We were in the process of verifying her presence in first class." There was a beat. Then silence. "You're telling me," Fields said slowly, "that your staff questioned her identity?" "Yes, sir." "You're calling from a plane her company owns?" "Yes, sir." "And you're delaying its takeoff because you questioned your own lesser's CEO?" Rodriguez almost winced. "There was a protocol misunderstanding. I apologize. The situation is now being resolved." "Make sure it is," Fields said flatly. "Dr. Langston is en route to our quarterly board meeting in Atlanta, where she'll be addressing Skylink's regional executives. You may want to inform your leadership team if they survive the week." The line went dead. Rodriguez exhaled and slowly turned to face Amara. "Dr. Langston," he said with quiet reverence, "you have our deepest apologies. The situation is beyond regrettable. Please let me know how we can begin making this right." Around her, the cabin was still. Even the man who had mocked her in 1C had set his phone down. Kylie, the flight attendant, was pressed against the galley wall like a statue, her phone still in her hand. Livestream now offline, but the damage already viral. Amara gave a soft nod. "Captain, I appreciate your effort to correct this. But I believe the real concern isn't just about this misunderstanding." She reached down to her handbag and withdrew something else, a second business card, this one even simpler in design. She placed it on her tray table without a word. Rodriguez leaned slightly to read it, and his face went pale. "Meridian Investment Group, Amara Langston, Managing Partner, Transportation Sector Specialist." There was a sound like a vacuum sucking the air from the cabin. Camila Torres in 3B blinked rapidly. "Oh my God," she whispered. "That's not just a partner firm. Meridian holds shares in everything." Rodriguez looked from the card to Amara's face.